Hello everyone and welcome to a new video of your Polyglot Academy. In this new series where we're going to attempt learning German as fast as possible. Today we're talking about the gender of nouns and about articles. So let's start. In German, in comparison to English, there's an actual gender while talking about things and while describing nouns. For example, if we consider the word Junge, which means boy, we can see that it has a masculine gender. If we continue, if we analyze the word Mädchen, which means girl, we can see that it has neuter gender, and so on. So depending on the gender of the noun, the article which accompanies it is going to change. Now, let's have a look at definite articles. The definite article is used before a noun to indicate that the identity of the noun is known to the reader. And in English, we only have the for every type of noun. But in German, it is a little bit more complicated, mostly because we have three genders. We have masculine gender, feminine, and neuter. Here you can see also the three articles we have in German, which translated all mean the. We use der if the noun is masculine, die if the noun is feminine, and das if the noun is neuter. Here are some examples. Der Junge, die Milch, das Museum. The word Junge, which is masculine, is automatically going to be accompanied by der, and because of that we have der Junge. If we analyze the second example, we can see that Milch is a feminine noun, and because of that it's going to be accompanied by die, which is the article we use for feminine nouns. Finally, the noun Museum is neuter, and because of that it's going to be accompanied by das, which is the definite article we use for neuter nouns. Now, let's have a look at indefinite articles. The indefinite article is used before a noun that is general or when its identity is not known. And while in English we only have a or an, in German we also have two possibilities. In German we use ein if the noun is masculine or neuter, and we use eine if the noun is feminine. Here you can see some examples. Ein Junge, because Junge is masculine, so we're going to use ein. And also because Museum is neuter, we're going to use ein. Following on, we can see that the word Milch is feminine, and because of that we're going to use eine. So it's going to be eine Milch. And while learning German, it is fundamental to always learn the nouns with the articles, as it is going to be difficult to build phrases which are grammatically correct if you do not know the gender of the nouns. So I recommend you to learn that. Now, by knowing these articles, you can now start to identify some objects. By using the particle das ist and then continuing on followed by the article and the noun, you can now look at that object and identify it. For example, if you're walking down the street and you see a theater, you can now say correctly, oh, das ist ein Theater. Now, someone might ask, how do we know if a noun is masculine, feminine, or neuter? In English, we do not have such a problem. Well, unfortunately, this is an arbitrary assignment, meaning you have to memorize the gender of a noun when you learn it. However, there are some useful tricks to learn and some useful tricks you might want to use in order to identify the gender of some nouns. For instance, when do we know if a noun is masculine? Now, we know that a noun is masculine if we observe some specific situations. If we are talking about male people and male animals, then we know that the noun is masculine, such as the examples der Mann, which means the man. So we're talking about a male person, and because of that, the noun is going to be masculine, or der Hund, while we're talking about a male animal. Following on, if we are talking about days of the week, months, seasons, or parts of the day, we use the definite article der, and we use ein, so we know that the nouns are masculine. So this is a strict rule, for example. Der Dienstag, which means Tuesday, is going to be masculine. Der Sommer, which means the summer, is going to be masculine. Der Morgen, which means the morning as well. But there are some exceptions, such as, for example, die Nacht, which means the night. Die Nacht is clearly feminine, so it's an exception to the rule. Now, if we're talking about weather and cardinal points, such as, for example, der Süden, then we also know that the nouns are masculine while talking about such a context. While talking about alcohol, so for example, der Wein, which means the wine, the nouns are also generally masculine, but there are also some exceptions, such as the word die Bier, the beer, which is clearly feminine. And lastly, if we're talking about professions practiced by men, just for example, der Elektriker, then we know that we are talking about masculine nouns. So we have masculine nouns. And if we have nouns ending in ismus, ling, or o, such as Expressionismus, Liebling, or Editor, then we know that the noun is going to be masculine, so that might be useful as well. Now, when is the noun feminine? In this case, we have three possible situations. If we're talking about female people, such as die Mutter, which means the mother, or die Tante, which means the aunt, then the noun is going to be feminine. If we are talking about many plants, such as die Tulpe, which means the tulip, or die Rose, which means the rose, then we also know that the noun is going to be feminine. And lastly, if we're talking about professions practiced by women, such as die Lehrerin, then the noun is going to be feminine. And the noun is also going to be feminine while using nouns ending in ung, heit, keit, schaft, ion, ei, o, such as in Kleidung, Schönheit, Wahrscheinlichkeit, Gesellschaft, Irritation, Bücherei und Figur. With such nouns, we know that the nouns are feminine. And now lastly, when do we know if a noun is neuter? In this case, we have only two situations, or mostly two situations. If we're talking about infinitive verbs that have been nounized, or adjectives that have been nounized, such as essen, which becomes das Essen, or good, gut, which means das Gute, or the good. And we know that a noun is also neuter if it ends with chen or lein, such as Mädchen und Fräulein. Now, before ending the lesson, try to do these exercises, enter the correct definite and indefinite articles, and write in the comments your solutions. I will give you direct feedback to that. And thanks for listening, and have a nice day.